Welcome to Roadmap, how to take 3 listings a week until you're ready for more. And I hope you're ready for more. Each week we interview a great agent who's consistently taking 2, 3, 4 listings a week. And we have an exciting guest today. We encourage you to take notes and apply as much of their knowledge as quickly as you can. And then use the copycat principle. If you're watching on Vulcan7 or on the Lead Gen Facebook group, you'll have an opportunity to ask some questions during the broadcast. Let me introduce my co-host from San Diego, Carly Hathaway. That's carlyhathaway.com. Hi, Carly. How's the real estate business?
Hi, Ren. Real estate's great as always. I can never complain. Definitely a great time to be a listing agent.
Wonderful. Wonderful. So folks, before I introduce our guest today, I want to remind everyone we're simulcasting the show on the private Lead Gen group on Facebook. They have over 50,000 members. So we have a large audience there today as well. So we'll be pausing for a commercial message during the show as a thank you to the Lead Gen folks. So let's welcome our guest today from beautiful Chicago, Illinois, and surrounds, Sohail Salahuddin, if I got that right. Sohail Salahuddin.
Yes.
Sohail, thank you so much for being here.
Yes. Sohail, great. Glad to have you here. And let's see if we can have some folks send a nice referral to you, listing or buyer. How's the best way for them to reach you?
So email is primary. It's my first name spelled Sohail. That's Sohail at sohailrealestate.com.
Perfect.
And my cell phone is 312-437-7799.
Perfect. And they could go to sohailrealestate.com and learn more about you too.
Yeah. sohailrealestate.com, sohailrealestateteam.com.
Perfect.
Nice.
Wonderful. You're in a great city.
Yeah.
Good deal.
So can I ask, let's start out with what's your goal this year?
120 to 150 closed sales.
Nice.
Yeah.
And are you on track?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Perfect.
Last month we did about between 20 and 30 closings. This month we should have another 20 and 30 closings. So just looking year over year from past years, you start to see the trends within your own business. Mm-hmm. And you could define when is the best time to take listings or when most of your closings are occurring. So when you really tailor in with the numbers and the tracking, you can fine tune your business with your personal life as well. Because as realtors, if you're really heavy in listings, you have to have the staff, and there's a lot of loose arms and loose legs.
Yeah, definitely. And you say we, are going to take 20 to 30. You have a team, obviously. Can you tell us what your team is made up of?
Yeah, it's a small team. I have a listings and transactions manager, relationship, and a marketing manager. I have a few different buyer's agents. I think I have one who's been with me for a long time. Mm-hmm. Fantastic. And his name is Don Beard. And he's been with me we've been working together since 2010, at least.
Wow.
Yeah. Okay. And then I have a few other people on my team that help with the buyers and showings as well, because we try to show our own properties instead of lockboxing them. Oh,
that's good. I'm sure sellers appreciate that.
They do. Yeah.
So it would be a fairly strong market there. You double siding a lot?
I am actually. I think this year more than ever. It seems, and I heard this from somebody else. I didn't notice it, and it hasn't happened until just recently, where I'm having buyers reach out to me directly on my listings. I think that they believe that there's going to be an advantage.
Mm-hmm. Let them think that.
Yeah. I think they're saving money somehow. I don't know how, but
yeah. So
yeah. Okay, cool. Okay, so it sounds like you have obviously a lot of clients. You're very, very busy. Where do majority of your clientele come from?
So I built up my business from canceled expireds.
Okay,
and that's
great.
Really how I built it up. Once I built up enough, and I started following a specific training system. Yeah.
Anything in particular?
Mike Ferry.
Oh, okay.
And, my coach is Steve Powers, who's helped me tremendously. Mm-hmm. And I learned I was so heavily focused on canceled expireds that I let everything else that I could be doing just fall to the wayside. So now I'm starting to realize that you can use the dialer for your past clients. There's the just list, or just sold calls, your sphere of influence. There's a number of ways to prospect. And I would say that there is a hierarchy of where the lowest hanging fruit starts from, and then where it ends up.
Is that how you run it? Lowest hanging fruit on through the morning?
Yeah.
Okay, good.
Obviously, when you started a few years ago to build your business with the expireds, you must have been on the phones all the time. Like, can you kind of walk through your routine?
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
Are we gonna be scared?
Well, when I first started, I was coached. I didn't know how to prospect. And This was 2012, I think, or 2013. It took me a long time. I mean, literally, the coach I had he beat into my head that I should stay focused on taking listings. Mm-hmm. And it took me months to realize that when I took my focus off of that and I started working with buyers, or let's say, I don't know, someone wanted to rent a property, that I would lose the opportunity to focus on the listings. And then the magic happened. Someone introduced me to Vulcan7 and a dialer. I was dialing by hand before.
Oh no!
And it was a different data provider. I don't think they had cell phones. So I would just call, and then when I talked to somebody, I didn't know how to close. So I would try and get their email address, and then I'll follow up with a video from BombBomb, sending it to them. It was just a crazy system that I used, and it wasn't the most efficient way, and probably not the most effective. But at the same time, it was a work in progress.
Got to start somewhere.
Yeah, gotcha.
Absolutely. Yeah. And then
once you discovered Vulcan, the dialer, and you're using the Mike Ferry scripts, it kind of all came together for you?
Yeah, well, back then I was using the Mike Ferry scripts because I think everybody really uses them. But yeah, the dialer just totally changed my business. It wasn't me hand dialing. And I think also from a mental standpoint, Ren, we spoke about this just a second ago. With the dialer, it became such fast paced that it didn't give me time to look to see how much the property is listed for, look to see who the last agent was, because these things are you start to psych yourself out of trying to go after the listing. Oh, it's a couple $1 million. And then you say, why are they going to want to list with me?
Well, they paid too much 3 years ago. Oh, yeah. Oh, let me look at this. The dialer forces you to just
forces
into the game.
Yeah. It forces you so you can't think, which is good. Don't think, just do.
We have people that use our dialer. They use it. They dial them by hand. They have our system, and I mean, not that many, but there are people that do that. And once they start on the dialer, they never let it go.
No, it's impossible. No. It's like riding a bicycle.
Can't
and
go
then
back after.
like cutting down a tree with a chainsaw without pulling them.
Yeah, there you go. Right. That's a good analogy.
Yeah. Yeah, it is. It's a real good one. Good deal. And so how many people are you talking to every day?
Oh, gosh. I'd say probably on average about 50, at least.
50 conversations.
50. I stopped counting the contacts because I'm trying not to get into focus on contacts.
What do you count?
Appointments.
Okay, you count appointments.
Yeah, I just focus on, because when you get somebody on the phone, it's do everything you can to get the appointment. Otherwise, it's rare, especially now with so many agents calling, it's rare that after you get them on the phone, chances to get them on the phone again with so many other agents calling them is, it's you start to lose so much.
You get one shot on fresh expireds.
Yes, exactly.
Fresh expires, one shot deal. Yeah. Yeah. For sale owners, old expireds,
So what time do you
go for it, Carly?
What time do you normally get on the phones, and what's your kind of daily routine? What time do you get up in the morning? Tell us all.
Yeah. I get up very early. It's kind of extreme for, I think, a lot of people, but it works for me. I wake up at 2:15 in the morning.
It's late in the day.
I wake up.
I know a lot of realtors do that, but I didn't know you were one of them.
I wake up at 2:15
a.m.
I do some meditation, get my mind right. I read. I get through my emails in the morning. and if I have to prepare for listing appointments, CMAs, all that stuff will be done before 4 a.m. And then at 4 a.m. I go to the gym I'm usually there from 4:30 to 6, I would say, by the time I get there.
Mm-hmm.
Is the sun still up when you go to bed?
No, actually, now it might be. I go to bed.
Yeah, maybe so.
I try to get to bed about 9 o'clock. So yeah, it might be just going down. And then I get on the phones. I try to make it by 7:45, but I would say it's in that window of 7:45 and 8 a.m.
Mm-hmm. Do you role play?
I do 5 days a week.
Okay. And
Different role play partners?
Yeah, I have different partners. It's going good. Role playing it's a phenomenal advantage if you have the right partners. Mm-hmm. And I think everybody's going to be at a different stage. And then you progress and you got to find partners who are at the same level or better than you on the phones. Mm-hmm. Again, going back to improving your skills. And the only way to do that is to learn from somebody else. And so I do. I have one partner I do Mondays and Thursdays on because he and I are I think have the same approach to communicating.
Mm-hmm.
And they're all in different I assume they're in different markets. Your market.
I have two here in the Chicagoland area. The rest are I have one in Florida, one in Arizona, one on the East Coast.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Gotcha. And so obviously when you're doing the role playing, you're working on skills and you emphasize skills a few times. Can you expand on that? How important is it to really know your scripts and really have the skills and knowledge down?
It's very important. Because it goes back to the effective communication. It's not just knowing what to say, it's knowing how to navigate through the conversation. Mm-hmm. Know when to close, because sometimes closing is a natural occurrence based on what the person on the other end is telling you. Mm-hmm. So I know that a lot of people feel like you got to follow the script all the way to the end. Sometimes you got to close right away because the person on their end, they're not paying attention to what you're saying. So you can talk for 10 minutes and you're just losing their attention span more and more. Depending on the personality type, you have to quickly gauge who the person is on the other end, their personality type, and then use that to be able to close for the opinion.
Yeah. Good. I like it. And then, so how many listing appointments are you going on a day or a week?
3 to 5 a week.
Okay. Good. Okay. And how are you closing? What percentage?
Yeah, I'd say probably about 70%.
That's great.
Yeah, 75.
Mm-hmm. And so you're closing at 75. So I'm guessing you do a strong pre-qual before you even are making the appointment or going to the house.
the most
Did that take you a while to learn? Did you learn the hard way?
It does, yeah, because you have to, again, it goes back to listening very carefully. And then if you have to get in depth more than just, let's say, a script, if you're getting vague answers, you have to dig deeper. And I found that the best appointments I have is when I send them something ahead of time and I pre-qual heavy. And when I go there, they're ready to go. It's not even like where I have to fight from there on. They're ready to listen with me. But all that, everything's done beforehand before I get there. So I send them what they can restructure in their own, that they can read. I try to minimize when I'm sending them because you send them too much, you're not going to read through it. So I really could, if I could, I could send them just literally one sheet of paper. And I think it might actually be more effective than,
I know sometimes people send a book full of caca.
Yeah.
you sound like one of those people. And occasionally I meet somebody like that where your pre-qual is so in depth, the material you send them, everything, that by the time you get there, they know they want to list with you. Is that the case for you in a lot of cases?
That's what I try to aim for.
Okay.
It's not the case as always. I mean, that's my goal is to do everything before I get there. Mm-hmm. So they're ramped up and it's a short presentation, and I'm a driver personality, so I like to get straight to the point. It helps me. I don't like to waste time at the appointment where conversation goes off track about their family, and all that's important. But as a professional, I just want to keep it straight to the presentation and make sure that they understand what I'm there for, and make sure I can.
Okay, so there are a lot of people watching right now.
Yeah.
That they get to a listing presentation and that happens to them. And there's a technique or two to get it back on track. They end up, their mind, I'm going to go in for 30, 40 minutes, and 2 hours later, they're finally leaving because the seller controls the conversation. Can you give them a couple pointers on that?
Yeah. So you're not going in there to be their friend. You're going in there to be their professional. You don't want to be their friend who's also a real estate broker. You want to be their professional real estate broker who's friendly. So you can be friendly. And if you're trying to if you get out of pattern, you can, do a pattern interrupt and pull them
Tell
back.
them what that is, if you would. That would be helpful.
Yeah. So if you're talking to somebody and the conversation gets off course where the prospective seller starts to control the conversation, you can say something or do something, or maybe pretend like you got an important phone call to make to interrupt that pattern. When you come back, you take control of the conversation again.
Yeah. And a lot of times it's just the next question on the script.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. It's just questions.
Yeah. It's a question that takes, that gets it off onto where you take control again. Perfect. Right.
That's right.
And it works like a charm, and you can go be in and out. How long is the presentation typically from the time you get there?
I try to keep it within a half hour. I mean, sometimes it gets to an hour if they want to show me the house and then they want to point out all these things they've done. I try to see it myself, but sometimes
that works, sometimes it doesn't.
Yeah, because they don't know you, and it's like, this stranger wants to go through my house, and how come he doesn't want me to walk through with him?
Yeah.
And some of those houses, But so you could conceivably go on 2 or 3 in an evening if you had to.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes, it's like, it's fish when the fish are biting, right? Sometimes I'll have set up so many appointments where I'm double booking them on the same time, and that's when the pre-qual comes in handy, is to pre-qual both of them really hard and decide which one I want to go on.
Oh, that's a good idea. I think that's a pretty good problem to have, don't you think?
That's a great problem to.
Yeah, it's not always, and that's going back to where you can really understand how all of our markets react to certain market conditions. The best times of the year to really get on the phones, the best times of the year to follow up with your past clients. You can really dial into, but it takes time. It's not like you're going to figure it out right away. I would say get a coach who understands these things. They can help you dial it in. My coach just the littlest of things have changed my business completely. And it goes back to communication.
So why, it's kind of interesting. We have a lot of people on here that are involved with one coaching organization or another. Yours is a very common one. And everybody's like, I have a coach. And I'm just wondering, if you didn't have a coach, would you be selling anywhere near what you were selling? We're not promoting coaching on here, but it seems to be the people that sell a lot have one.
Well, here, I don't think I would be, because at one time, as I said, I was focused on canceled and expireds, because my coach is the one who got me off of just the canceled expired tunnel vision that I had. I mean, that's all I was doing. And some days I'm on the phone for 6 to 8 hours and I don't get anything, but that's because I didn't have that level of efficiency within my business where I'm like, okay, cancel expires are going to be good only in the morning or in the evening. I got to hit my past clients because they know me, they work with me. I should be following up with everybody that I'm working with currently to stay in communication with them, let those people know what we're doing to get their properties sold, and then also see who else they know that needs a great agent to help them. And then all of our pendings, which, once a property goes under pending, that's when I think the sellers are really excited because, okay, it's done. They're like, that first step that they've been waiting for is accomplished. And then you can follow up with them after the inspection. You can follow up with them after attorney review. You can follow up with them after the appraisal. Each time you can ask them, who do you know that needs to get their property sold?
That's a great idea.
That is such a great source of business. It is the most neglected category. Real estate agents, typically, you're not one of them, but they won't ask their pendings for business. Yet it's the most likely time they would get a referral is while it's under contract before closing. And if you ask, there you go.
Yeah. And sometimes it's hard to ask, but that goes back to getting past that mindset and any negative mental barriers. I used to have a hard time calling my past clients because in the back of my mind, I knew why I was calling them. was to see how was to really get business, but I also wanted to see how they're doing to reinvigorate that relationship conversation.
Mm-hmm.
But my coach is the one who taught me how to do it, how to be effective with that conversation, really how to be effective with every conversation, and just hone in my skills that I have with being on the appointment in front of them, on the phones, past clients, current clients, so on and so forth.
Mm-hmm. And how often are you reaching out to past clients now? Do you have a routine or a schedule or?
Yeah, I call them every quarter.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And we reach out to them every quarter. I have a database, a video that goes out to my database as well.
Mm-hmm.
And then I have one client appreciation party.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I do it with a lender who I work with, so it's good because we
The
both
lender pays for it, right? There you go.
we work together.
Good deal. Perfect. What a wonderful deal. Good. And we're starting to get a number of questions in here. If you could give a little thumbnail sketch here, they're asking about Jordan Wilson and Gary Voorhees are asking basically, what are some of the pre-qual questions that are so important, and what are you sending them in that little pre-listing packet? What are the vital pieces there?
Yeah, great question. So in the pre-listing packet, I have some testimonials. I have my marketing plan. I highlight also like the most important parts that the prospective person should read. My track record. And a copy of the sales and marketing agreement.
Okay.
And then I also send them a CMA. But that's it. I mean, the more stuff you send them, the less, I think that the less focus that they're going to be on what's really important. When you send them too much, they're going to lose focus and lose sight of what you're going there for.
Yeah. Yes. I mean, there's a lot of things you can discuss with them later, like how to organize the house and get it ready for showings.
Yeah.
You leave that out, do that once you've listed it.
Yes.
Send the nuts and bolts, like you said, the business pieces. You're sending them sales and marketing agreement. Is that a contract, listing contract? Is that
Yes. Yeah. We call it sales.
Send them a listing contract. And I can tell you, most agents, it never occurred to them to do that, send that in advance. But it does speak volumes that you're the professional and you're feeling bold enough to go ahead and send them that.
Jordan's asking, what are the pre-qual questions you ask?
Oh, yeah. So, I mean, you can get them from Mike Ferry. They're part of his free scripts.
Okay.
But you really just want to find out what's important to them. I mean, that's kind of the questions are they prepared to list their home with you? How much do they plan to list for? What's important to them? Where are they moving to? What's the timeline? Have they ever thought about selling it themselves? Do they want to get all their cash out, or would they do something creative for a buyer who may need it? And then during that pre-call, part of it is also to find out what the personality type is. So you're more prepared when you're going over for the presentation.
All right. How they receive information. Perfect.
Yeah.
Good.
So for example, if they're a driver like you're just going to get right down to the point.
Yeah.
Yeah. And if they're analytical, then obviously you're going to have to come with more facts and data. Amiable, you might want to prepare to be there a little bit longer than expected.
Definitely.
And expressive, the same thing. They're going to talk a lot. You need to listen. You probably have to use a couple different pattern interrupts.
Yes, a lot of phone calls.
Yeah.
Okay, we have more questions. What else?
Let's see. Well, somebody was asking about now. This just depends on who you're calling. It says you come across an interested client, but they're not ready to meet on the first call. How do you follow up? If that's an expired, you need to close then. But on, say, a for sale by owner or someone else that's just where you may have to do some follow-ups. Do you have any strategy with that?
Well, the cancel expireds, I think that you do have to get them. And if you can't get them in that one shot, try like 2 or 3 more times at least. Even if they already told you no, it doesn't hurt to try.
Just call back in the afternoon.
Yeah, call back in the afternoon, call back the next day.
Yeah, because they won't even know that it's you again. So. Yeah.
Or they may be frustrated. They may be busy at work. You never know. Try again and deplete all your attempts. For sale by owners, you have to. That's really just a follow-up thing. You do have to constantly follow up with you because you're not going to get anywhere until they decide and entertain the idea of working with an agent.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Do you leave voicemails for people that don't answer the phone?
I do. I'll leave like one or two.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't want to leave too many because once they see my phone number and you start leaving too many, it can become a little bit of harassment,
Mm-hmm.
you know? And if they're not calling you back on the first one, they may not call you back on the 10th one either.
Yeah.
But I think it's important to leave at least one or two because I do get calls back from them.
Mm-hmm.
Ryan Lally saying, what is that hierarchy for you? I guess that means, is that like where the lowest hanging fruit is on up? I guess, is that what that means?
Yeah.
Okay. So what would be, what's the lowest hanging fruit?
The new canceled expireds for the day.
New canceled and expireds for the day. And what would be next after that?
The hot leads that you've been following up with.
Okay. Your hottest leads.
Yeah. Someone who's ready to do something, in the next couple of weeks.
Yeah.
Past clients.
Past clients. Okay. People after that. Yeah.
Yeah. And then the for sale by owners, and then just listed, just solds. After that would be the old expireds. But I mean, I would say in the past year, I haven't even called anybody that's past a week. I don't have time.
Yeah. Well, now if we're looking at a lot of the people watching this, though, that one of the best things they can do is old expires because the skill level required on an old expired and the chance of getting the listing goes way up if you're newer in this business or if you haven't been calling expireds much. An old expired is friendly and nobody else is calling them. And the odds of getting the listing go. I mean, it's a great way to start at the shallow end of the pool and get one or two listings a month from it. And that's not so bad.
No.
A month is a good thing.
And trust me, if I had an ISA or if I had if I had someone that was doing the calls, if I had more time, then I would be going to the old expireds. But
yeah,
in my marketplace, there's so many canceled expireds that come out.
But your skill level's higher.
Right.
You can handle it. A lot of them are calling the same ones you are, and they're getting a goose egg because the skill level's so high. Somebody like you calls, and it's all over. They're gonna pick you. Divjot Moore asks, who is your coach? That was Steve Powers with the Mike Ferry organization.
Powers.
Christian, we answered that one. What are you?
Bart, how do you go about circle prospecting? What do you say to just listed, just solds?
So circle prospecting for me is the same as just listed, just solds. And I just follow the Mike Ferry scripts. Nothing really. The scripts work, but you have to follow them. And I think most people give up too much because they hear the first one or two no's. But the secret is you want them to say no at least 2 or 3 times because then they feel like they're in control. You want them to feel like they're in control. And then the skill comes in where you're able to turn that conversation around to yeses.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So, there's part of communicating in an effective manner is learning how to ask the right questions. It's either yes or no questions. It's not even questions that gets the person to think. Starting off with the who, what, why, where, and when. But again, it's learning how to navigate and learning how to ask the questions. You can ask a yes or no question and structure it where you want them to say yes or no, and they're going to give you a no if you structure correctly, and they're going to give you a yes if you structure it correctly.
Very true.
The power is in the ability to ask good questions. Yes. Yeah.
Definitely.
Do you want to set an appointment, or should I just come over? Give them one that you don't care how they answer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do we have any other questions?
Good. This has been a real treat. I learned a lot. I've got some good thoughts for strategy. So it's been wonderful, Sohail. We really appreciate it a lot.
Yeah, my pleasure.
I think we all got some really good takeaways from this. I can't wait to rewatch it a few times.
Me too. Let me do that little spot I need to do. If you're watching on Vulcan7 and you want to get involved in the Lead Gen Facebook group, there who simulcast this show, they're at facebook.com/groups /groups/got objections. And then I want to thank Aaron Wittenstein, who rebroadcasts this show live. And he's a real giver. He runs a program called trajectorynow.com for people that are newer at this. And finally, if you're watching on Facebook and you are not involved with Vulcan7 for expireds for sale by owners, neighborhood search, circle prospecting and a dialer, go to Vulcan7.com/lead gen for a very special deal. And if you've done what Sohail did today, he made all his calls, started in the 8 a.m. and he's calling in. He's setting 2 or 3 appointments today. 2 or 3. Amazing.
Yeah.
Deserve to treat yourself. You know what motivates him? I have his secret. This is why he makes those calls. This is why he's successful. He gets the delicious Graeter's mint chocolate chip. Not only do they sell it in Chicago, they sell it all over North America. So go to Graeters.com to find the mint chocolate chip. It's the only one for listing agents. And if the house isn't selling, dig a hole in the front yard, bury it upside down, and it will cause the house to sell. So make sure you get
It's like Popeye spinach.
that is
Yes,
it.
exactly.
It. But only the mint chocolate chip.
Yes.
If you get any other flavor, you're going to end up with too many buyers and no sellers.
Thank you so
everybody,
much for tuning
joining
in,
us.
everybody. We had such a good time.
Good.
All right.
Thank you. Appreciate
Thanks.
it.
Thanks, everybody.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
See you soon. See you next week.